Shalom, party people, and welcome to the 12th Sea. Oh, let's see, 75 hard after action report. We're doing this on December 19, 2022. Not that the particular date of the after action report matters, but just so used to saying that after 75, 76 videos. So my 75 hard cycle consisted of October 2 all the way to December 15. And before we get going super deep, for somebody who probably just stumbled across this video, 75 hard is a 75-day cycle of a diet. Doesn't matter what the diet is, but you gotta pick one and stick to it. No cheat days, no compromises, no substitutes, no nothing. Then 75 days of 2 workouts per day. One of them must be outside regardless of weather conditions. The workout routines can be whatever you want. You can go for a walk for both of them. It doesn't matter. You can do stretching for both of them. It doesn't matter, but you got to get up, you got to get moving, and those workouts need to be 3 hours apart from each other. Then it is no alcohol, no days off, no cheat days, no slacking, no nothing. You pick your routines and you stick to them. You must do 1 gallon of water per day. You must take a photo of your progress daily. The photo gets people a lot, so does the gallon. Also, you must do 10 pages minimum of nonfiction, some kind of like leadership or business or true blue nonfiction motivational reading. You can't just have some pleasure reading or whatever. That being said, I always add a couple of things when I do 75 hard. This is my 3rd cycle through. My first one, I started off at 240 pounds and ended at like 195-ish, give or take. I think I had actually bottomed out at 190 and then creeped back up to 195. My second cycle, I started at about 209 and ended at about 195, and I know I had bottomed below that. I think I had gotten into the 180 range for just a brief minute, like 186, 187, something like that. That second attempt, I had a fail, and that's something that people don't talk about a lot, but if you skip a day, if you mess up, if you miss any of your main metrics, then you must start completely all over again from day 1. And on cycle 2, I had a situation where I got sick and I took a day or 2 off, missed some metrics, and started all over. Did complete that cycle 2 on my second attempt. Cycle 3, this one was really truly more of a 75 medium, solely because I wasn't as strict with that second workout. I was always going on walks, and those walks and that stretching didn't always equal to a true 45 minutes. The first workout, it was, I would do that workout and I didn't always go to a true 45 minutes. Like sometimes it would be like 15 minutes outside due to how cold it was, and then come back inside and like finish some things out. So those things definitely made it to where it wasn't a true blue 75 hard. That being said, we'll get into a true after action report. So started on October 2nd, 2022, ran through until December 15th, 2022. For my exercises, I'm mostly focused on exercise 1 being usually running, although I would permit myself some upper body exercises because I needed to, and sometimes I would try to get like a running and an upper body routine in the same go or split them up. My second workout was always walking and stretching. I would usually walk for about 20 minutes or so. I'd get about 1.5 miles in. And then I would stretch for about 20 minutes or so, give or take. And the time in between would usually get me to about that 45. Like I said, I was kind of fast and loose with that time. Sometimes it was 15 minutes. So that, for what it is, needs to be the case. I was pretty consistent with my gallon. I'm sure there were some days that I wasn't truly at a gallon. I wasn't policing it super heavy, but it's been pretty easy for me to consume a gallon of water without much issue. On the days that I would start late, I would really ensure that I get that gallon in there. There were days that I'm sure I probably only got like 124 out of the 128 ounces. Like I said, I wasn't super strict with it, but then there were other days that I'd drink 2 gallons of water and it wasn't that big of a thing. So I can say Andy Frinzello would not be super happy with the way I did this cycle, just because I was a little more fast and loose. For those that were playing along with me, watching videos, understanding part of my text group, and in constant communication with me, you'll understand that we had a baby that was born in this cycle, and I knew that was coming. We actually had the baby show up a little bit late, and that played with some timelines. That being said, that's why I gave myself the grace that I gave myself with this go. For my upper body routines, they were always very sporadic and didn't happen frequently. The runs were pretty well the constant. And on a couple of days that I couldn't run, I'd go for a walk. So it was there. Um, let's see. My photo was pretty consistent. There was one day that the photo went past midnight. I had fallen asleep. I woke up instantly, at, like 1:15, and took the photo and counted that. By the true rules of 75 hard, once you go to bed, it's, that's your doodad. That one was on me, so technically I missed one. Like I said, I'm giving myself the grace in this go. I will say that for those of you that are doing the 75 hard and are having trouble with the photos, like if you're not paying the money for one of the apps that is going to store all of your progress photos all the way through, I would seriously recommend, if you're doing an accountability text group, you take your photo and then send it to that text group. That really helped this cycle. Several cycles through, I had like almost missed photos, or like actually missed photos, and given myself the grace. Like I said, Andy Frinzello would not be super happy with me on that one. I personally added a weigh-in to every day, and that really helped, in conjunction with the photo, understand what was going on, because my biggest problem is portion control. Caveat to that portion control, what I would do is I would take pictures of my meals, so that way I was at least accountable for what I was eating. That doesn't mean that I didn't stop when I shouldn't have stopped. That doesn't mean that, it's like, okay, I've taken a picture of this and it's like, well, this is the same food that's in this picture, and it's a little hard to tell what the exact portion is, so I'm going to have a couple more spoonfuls. That was something that, was throughout. I tried to document when I overate, so that way I would understand what was going on. This cycle of 75 hard was not so much about weight loss, although the potential was there at the beginning. It just didn't really end up being something. It was more about weight maintenance, which was, fairly reasonable the whole way through. I didn't end up fatter at the end of this. I didn't end up losing weight. I do believe that I've got a little bit better definition. And that's something that I'm relatively proud of. This one was just making sure that I didn't become, fat dad bod while new baby was running around throughout the house. Let's see. The reading that I did quite a bit of reading for this cycle of 75 hard. I ended up doing 9 books, and I definitely attribute that to being home as much as I was. The 9 books that I went through were The Heart and the Fist by former Governor Eric Greitens. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. Definitely give that one the rubber stamp if anyone is interested in reading a good book about, military biography and politics and humanitarian efforts. That one is fantastic. Did The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, something along those lines. I'm butchering his, but 48 Laws of Power was phenomenal. Definitely going to go back through that in the foreseeable future. It's something that really, really kind of opened my eyes to the way some people interact with other people, and that kind of does some things. Reread Fearless by Eric Balaam, which is a biography of Adam Brown. He's the only Navy SEAL to ever make it onto Team 6 with one functioning eye and one functioning hand, and he did not get any slack cut to him. He actually did everything he was supposed to do and exceeded the minimums by far. Also read IBM and the Holocaust, which is a nonfiction account of how Sam Watson, the creator and founder of IBM, actually helped the Nazi regime come up with all the systems that they needed to conduct the Holocaust, and then actively supported them all the way through with employees, time, machines, material, training, everything. Like it was not a passing business deal. It was something that they were actively pursuing in. read the 12 Rules of Life, or 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson. Fantastic book. That was actually a reread for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. That was a reread for me as well, but very good to go through. Definitely the rereads on Fearless, 12 Rules for Life, Extreme Ownership were really helpful in, kind of going through as many books as I did. I did 12 More Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, and I hadn't actually read that one, and I was very impressed with it. And it's something that I read so fast because it was due back at the library, and I want more time in that one. I thoroughly intend to pick up my own copy and be able to make some notes. Also did Killing Sacred Cows by Garrett Gunderson. And I'd always heard about the book, and it was very interesting. It's a very unique financial money-making book, and there's 3 chapters in there that are kind of going against the grain of what a lot of financial planners will tell you, and it was very unique for sure. There's some things in there that I really like, and there's some things that I'm just like, I don't understand that. Maybe I need to have a better grasp on that before I make up my mind one way or the other. I also did Resistance Operating Concepts, which is a book that thoroughly details the active, passive, and underground resistance that will happen in the event of a nation being invaded and the people want to fight back and take their country back. It's also a really good study of why the war in the Middle East recently, between 9/11 and present date, have gone the way that they have gone, and how people who seem to have nothing are able to seriously resist massive invasion forces. And it is the resilience that is automatically built into the system of their way of life that has aided in the ability for people to lead insurgencies like that. All of that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed every book that I've read. There's books that I want to continue to go back. There's books that I want to read slower. There's books that I, would love to have for reference. Other than one of the books that I've read, it was something that I had to go to the local library and pick up copies. And that's one of the things that I really like about 75 Hard is there's nothing you have to buy. You can do all. For me personally, a pull-up bar, which I already had, a kettlebell, which I already had, a set of stairs, which came with the house when I bought it, so I guess that was the most expensive piece of workout equipment that I bought, but I'd been in it for so long. And then outside for running, and then a foam roller for when I'm stretching stuff out, and a lacrosse ball, which I've already had all of those things, so I didn't have to pay for a gym membership, didn't have to do anything crazy, but my workouts were just there, and it was just part of it. You can do this for free. You can do all of your books at the local library. For my diet, all I was doing was watching my sugar intake, and I will gladly do, if people demand it, I will gladly do a deeper dive into how I really watch sugars that go in. Basically, read the labels. If the word sounds like it rhymes with the word gross, don't eat it, because it's a fake sugar that goes in there. Obviously, stay away from your high fructose corn syrups. Stay away from any sugars that it just outright says sugar in there that's added. And I gave myself the room for, if it is an actual real sugar and not a fake sugar, I would allow myself up to 3 grams of added sugar. The only reason I would do that is for the peanut butter. There's a couple, other things that would be like maybe 1 gram of added sugar or something along those lines. Now, natural sugars like fruits or whatever, fair game. I would stay away from honeys and syrups, but there's peanut butter in oatmeal, and it is fantastic. And that's what's there. And it's just watching, what you put in. I have just really been reading a lot of food labels. There'd be stuff I'd pick up because I'd want to eat. I was like, oh, I know there's not much sugar in that. And I read, and it would say monosucralose or something along those lines. And it's like, that's a fake sugar. I can't have that. So it was there, but I was never hungry due to, tummy rumbling and like, man, I really want something. It was something that is like, man, I'm bored and I want to eat, or hey, I'm intentionally fasting and I want to eat. So things like that. There were very, very few missed meals. I want to say in total, I had, maybe 10 meals that I didn't eat, and those were all intentional when I didn't eat those. All in all, I overate on dinner 17 times, I overate on lunch 8 times, and I overate on breakfast 1 time, and that is counting for all of the meals that I intentionally missed. So it is what it is. Overeating a total of, 27 times, give or take, 26 times. So that's something that I am definitely going to be addressing on my next cycle of 75 hard. The total amounts of running that I have done was 196.25 miles, and that averaged out over the 75 days to 2.6167 miles per day. So that, wasn't terrible. I think my original intent was to do about 3 a day. And there were days that I would do 5, there were days that I would do 1, there were days that I would do 3. 3 was my most common. Definitely going for most commonly occurring, I would do 3. And it's just something that, having a couple of days that were 0 due to being sick and where I would walk instead of run, that was just something that I needed to, police a little bit better. I'm sure there was a few in there that I could have definitely done. And then there were a few that were like right at that 2.5 mark. And that, that does go against you by a full half mile, which does add up over time. The amount of push-ups that I did in total were 4,100 push-ups, which averaged out to about 55 push-ups a day, which really, in all honesty, isn't a lot. I should have been doing more push-ups. For pull-ups, I didn't do a ton of pull-ups, but it came out to 1,365 pull-ups in total, which averaged out to about 18 a day. Now, the way I did my pull-ups was grab the bar all the way up, all the way down, let go, grab the bar, all the way up, all the way down. So that is a little bit different than just busting pull-ups out, but I was doing it solely to focus on form because my pull-up form in the past has actually been pretty bad. Doing that allowed me to go for higher reps, but they're sets of 1, so it evens out for sure. But I do know the form really helped. I honestly thought I had done more kettlebell swings, but I totaled 3,400 kettlebell swings over 75 days, which averaged out to 45 kettlebell swings a day. So I honestly thought I had done more, and that's something that, it is what it is, and I will address that in the future. Walking 1.5 miles per day was an additional 112.5 miles. And then 20 minutes of stretching a day. Like I said, sometimes that wasn't a full 20 minutes of stretching, but average out to about where that was. My intentions for 75 hard in the future is January 1, doing my next cycle of 75 hard. We'll do that January 1 through mid-March. And then we will do an additional 3 cycles of 75 hard for 2023. At least that is the goal. There will be, and if you've been watching my other videos, you'll notice that my background looks different now. Hung up some whiteboards, and not necessarily proud of how they went up, because finding studs on that wall was fun. This house has had a lot of interesting things, and it turns out that some of these studs aren't spaced like they're supposed to be spaced. So anyway, on that whiteboard, this next video that I'm going to be dropping fairly soon will be a breakdown of how I intend to spend 2023 and the goals that I will be setting for myself. I really want to train for a Spartan race that I'm going to be training for it, and I probably will not end up running it just due to logistics and time, and just a few other things on where all that is out. That being said, I'm going to train for like I'm going to run it, because if, you know, if opportunity knocks, I would love to be able to take it and not just be like, oh, well, you know, if I had trained for that, I guess I could do it. So also want to be breaking down some other things. The next video that I drop will be quite thorough. Um, Brief recap for any of y'all who have stuck around for 20 minutes on this is this cycle of 75 hard was a maintenance cycle, just making sure that I didn't walk out of this in worse shape than I had begun. I gave myself a lot of grace. Andy Frinzello would not be happy. This is not a true, you know, no holds bar 75 hard, but it's something that was able to at least maintain some level of fitness. And January 1 of 2023 will be no holds bar. If I miss something, if I half butt something, then I will be completely starting over that cycle and, you know, going until I get it right. Those of you who want to play along in the home game for this, gear up for 75 hard January 1, and we can, you know, we can wrap a little bit next time I post a video, and we can compare notes and see, you know, if you want to play along in the home game. So thank you so much for the support to everybody who was in my text group. Thank you to everybody who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, all of that in the last 76 videos that I had posted. It was a whole lot of fun, and the whole purpose of that was to daily get a video out there. I would like this YouTube channel to do something, and I don't have to make money off of it. I'd be tickled pink if I did, but I would like to be happy with the quality of video that I'm putting out, and this was a way to make a whole bunch of mistakes and walk away going, hey, I made 75, 76, 77 videos, and was able to, you know, learn from some mistakes and realize that, hey, I've been talking about doing this kind of stuff for years, and finally got around to actually pushing record and then posting something. So it wasn't difficult, but it's definitely not something that I want to tell all my buddies about, like, hey, this YouTube channel is actually worth your time, check it out, because it's not there yet. But the point is practice, and the point of this channel is conditioning. And so I am conditioning myself to where I can, you know, actually start turning out something that's halfway decent. I do plan on putting a lot of effort into the next video that I come out. The video quality may not be awesome, but I do intend for there to be a very thorough breakdown of a calendar for 2023 and goals that will be set and metrics that I can be held accountable to. And I will fail, and that's going to be part of it. And I want to, you know, have my feet held to the fire, and people cheer for me when I succeed, and people, you know, say, hey, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going when I fail. That is the point, is to progressively learn, progressively get better, and just kick butt and take names. But yeah, go do hard things.